Hey there, Chadi Bazzi here, and welcome to another episode of the Top Listing Agent Show. Today, what we're going to talk about is the power of influence. One of my favorite topics to speak about because until I learned the power of influence, until I learned how to influence myself, until I learned how to influence others, I had a normal life. And then, what I discovered was, the more influential you become in your speaking, okay, the more people are drawn to you. And the more people are drawn to you, the more likely they are to work with you. And then through effective communication is how you get people to a yes. That's how you eliminate the maybes. That's how you eliminate the objections. We in the real estate business, you listen to this podcast because you are someone who wants to become a top listing agent. You're someone who is having multiple conversations with multiple people every single day, whether that be sellers, whether that be buyers, whether that be associates or other people on the other side of the transaction. There's always a negotiation taking place. And in every single negotiation, ultimately we would like to create a win-win outcome, okay? And the best way to do that is to be able to bring people on your side and to be able to convince them. And we do the convincing through influence. So I always say this, your listing presentation is nothing more than a conversation. It's a conversation that is taking place between you and the sellers. And the better you are at having that conversation, the more likely you are to walk away with a signature on the contract, a priced right listing. Now, the worse off you are at having that conversation, well, at the end of that conversation, you're going to get a response that says, something along the line of like, well, we don't think you're the right fit, or they're going to say, we need to think it over, which is another way of saying you're not the right person for us. We're not convinced. Or they're going to say, we want to interview other agents. Obviously, that's another way of saying we think we can find better. And that's why we're going to continue the interview process. So what I want you to do is I want you to totally become very effective at the art of communication. And the way to do that is by mastering influence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a 4-step process today. 4 steps, 4 things that you absolutely must spend I would say, if I were you, I would be spending, until I master this, I would be spending a minimum of 30 to 60 minutes every single day, sharpening that axe, sharpening that tool, and totally mastering these strategies. Step number 1, if you want to become a person of influence, you gotta become good at creating connections. Creating connections is something I speak about in almost every single video I shoot, in almost every single episode I do here for the Top Listing Agent Show. And the reason being is because this is the first step to all influence. Creating connections, meaning how do I get people to feel good in my presence? Because here's the thing, if they don't feel good in your presence, then what's going to happen is there's going to be resistance. They're going to put their wall up. Objections are going to appear like crazy. They're not going to trust you. They may not like you. And then it doesn't matter whatever else you do after that step, it's not going to result in a favorable outcome for you. Okay, so we gotta master the art of building rapport, creating connections. Now, I know you've heard this before, and what you've heard before, what a lot of people tell you, I'm gonna totally disagree with right now. A lot of people tell you, hey, to build rapport, find something you have in common with the other person. That's how we build rapport. That is not effective at all. Every once in a while, yes, by default, you create that connection by having something in common with another person. But every once in a while, by default, you create connections with people anyways. And it's not because you have something in common with them. Maybe you don't have anything in common with them, but you feel as if you've known that person for a lifetime. I want your every single experience with every single buyer and every single seller and every single person you're trying to influence to be an experience of like, well, I feel like I've known this person for a very long time. Therefore, I can like them, I can trust them, and I should do business with them. So stop looking for things you have in common with people. An example would be, just because you have a dog and I have a dog and we both have a liking for dogs, it doesn't mean we are necessarily going to create that connection and like each other. So the way we don't create rapport by common interest, we create rapport by common behavior. Common behavior. So what I'm going to suggest that you do is that you identify what are those common behaviors that I need to strategically use in every single encounter with every single person in order for me to create that feel good experience in my presence. And I'll tell you right now, if you master, or when you master this one step, it's gonna make the rest of everything you do very simple. It's gonna cause you to fall in love with the business. So that's step number one. Step number two, okay, is the discovery process. So first we connect, and we need that connection to begin the discovery process. What is the discovery process? It's another way of saying qualifying and or pre-qualifying. But specifically, what do we need to discover? And I'm willing to bet if I'm sitting in a room with 10 of you guys right now and I say, hey, what do we need to pre-qualify for? 9 out of 10 are gonna say this. Well, we need to qualify for motivation. I get that. We need to go further. We need to discover, what do they want? We need to go further. Why do they want it? What will happen when they get it? What will happen if they can't get it? But here's the thing. You're going to be asking questions, and you're most likely not going to get a response to the question if you haven't already created the connection. So I'm just going back to reference that because I want to show you how critically important it is for you to, follow the other steps effectively. You need to get step number one right. Now, we need to go further. What do they need? You and I, hopefully you and I know, hopefully you know that there's a big difference between a want and a need, okay? And if you really understand psychology, if you really study, common human behaviors, then what you'll discover is that most people go for what they want versus what they need. And, we as, salespeople, some of us that don't understand the sales process are always talking about but you need this, but you said you need that, it's like, yeah, I want to lose weight and I need a nutritional good salad for lunch right now. However, I want me a hamburger and fries and a soda. Okay. Now for the average person, what is most likely to win? The burger or the salad? I think you get my point. You're at a holiday party and you've made a commitment a couple of days ago that you're not going to have any sugar and you're not going to have any carbs and you're going to lose 5 pounds before the end of the year, etc. And then here comes the eggnog and here comes the cookies, and what are you having? I think you get my point. Okay. So what do they need? What do they want? Yes, we need to find out what is their time frame. That's all part of the discovery process. We need to find out their finances, their resources, and a bunch of other stuff. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to list out all the things that you need to discover prior to getting into a presentation with someone that will help you customize a presentation to show them that you are exactly what it is that they're looking for. And I'll give you a tip right now. Here's a question that most people don't ask during the discovery process. Obviously, the person you're meeting with, example, if it's a seller, you're meeting with them because they are looking for what? They are looking for a real estate professional to hire and list their home with. So look, I think you get my point right here is that, the discovery process is a very important process. And the more you discover, what your clients really want, what it is that they're up to, and what they are absolutely trying to accomplish, and what is holding them back from, accomplishing that goal, etc. And the more you find out what it is that they're looking for in a real estate professional, the more likely you are to speak about that in a way that lets them know that they found the right person. And that's how we create influence. So we've gone over step number one. We've gone over step number two. What is step number three? Look how simple it is. Simple, very, very, very simple, but most people don't do it. Listen, listen, listen. Listening is the foundation to all your powers of influence. Now, you should be listening to what they're saying. You should be listening to how they're saying it, because how they're saying it is letting you know how they are feeling about what it is that they're saying. I mean, look at the way I'm speaking to you right now. I'm very animated. Passionate about what I'm speaking about. So that lets you know where I stand mentally and emotionally. That's a cue for you to alter, shift, and change your way of being, your presentation, your voice inflections, and everything that you are doing to try to create the outcome. They say that you should listen with your eyes and hear with your ears. So basically, listening doesn't necessarily mean this. Listening means perfect eye contact and registering whatever cues you are getting so you could make whatever adjustments you need to make to be able to create the influence. Point number 4, the final point. Influence through communication. Influence through communication. So look what we've done up to this point. Number 1, I got you to feel good in my presence. Number 2, I know everything about you because I asked very good questions and you told me everything I need to know. Number 3, I listened, I registered everything, and guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna feed it right back to you. I'm gonna feed it right back to you. So I have to use very effective language patterns. I have to speak in a way that registers in your mind. For example, Mr. Seller, since you told me you have to be in Florida in 90 days from now to begin, a job promotion, you should boom, 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 fill in the blank. By the way, that's an NLP strategy right there, okay, which you can learn more about if you reach out and just let me know that you're interested in NLP. But besides the point, what you want to do is you want to speak in a way to where you're feeding them back what it is that they said they are wanting and tie in a little bit of influence by using effective strategies. You could use strategies like assumptive language patterns. An assumptive language pattern, example would be something along the line of, Mr. Seller, now that you have made the decision to work with me, what I did is I went ahead and created what we call a comparative market analysis. Let me walk you through that. So look, they haven't made a decision to work with me. I am implanting that in their mind. So guys, influence is a topic. It's an art, not an art that can be learned in, one day seminar or a weekend seminar. It's something that you got to work on and practice every single day for however long it takes. I'll give you an example. In my Real Estate NLP Academy, my students go through 12 weeks to learn the art of influence, okay? Now, it's not just going through 12 lessons. We actually go over about 24 strategies in a matter of 12 weeks. However, there is an assignment that they have to do on Monday live with me, and then every Tuesday, every Wednesday, every Thursday, and every single Friday. So 5 days a week for 12 weeks. And what I'm discovering after having taught this course to, probably about 1,000 people all over the country, is that most people don't even get it in 12 weeks. It takes usually 2-3 times going through the training to finally get it. Not that you don't get results from going through the course the first time. I've had people make an extra $100,000 in the first 12 weeks of going through this training. And I've had people that had to go through it twice, and then that increased their income by $100,000, etc. So look, 4 steps, guys. Number 1, connect. Number 2, discover. Number 3, influence. Number 4, use strong language patterns. Use NLP patterns. Use effective words that trigger a specific emotion and a specific outcome. That's the 4 steps. Thank you very much for tuning into this episode of the Top Listing Agent Show. And I just want to remind you, okay, if you've listened to enough podcast episodes, if you've watched enough of my YouTube videos, and you feel like if you and I actually, connected, if you and I actually began to dive in to your business and take a look at what's working and taking a look at what's not working and creating a new plan, and we set up some accountabilities and give you all the support that you needed, if you feel like that can take your business to the next level, then I'm going to invite you to, take advantage of a complimentary 45-minute strategy session with me so I can help you take your business to the next level. Of course, at the end of the 45-minute conversation, the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to walk away with a new strategy or a little mini plan that you can implement on in your business, whether you work with me or you decide to do it on your own. Meaning, no sales pitch. The only way I will invite you into one of my programs is if I felt like you are a fit. So if you're ready to have that conversation, simply go to tlastrategycall.com. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.